All right, welcome to Concept 4. This is still in Chapter 7a. We're going to be talking about negative exponent property. So in the last video, I told you guys that we do not want negative exponents. They cannot be part of your answer. They're bad, okay? But what happens if we encounter a negative exponent? How do we handle it? What do we do with it? So that's what this video is going to be all about. All right. Now, negative exponents are really easy if you remember one thing. When you see a negative exponent, you need to cross the line and change or flip the sign. Okay. Now that little saying is going to make it really easy for you to remember. Cross the line, flip the sign. All right. If the negative exponent is in the denominator, you need to move it to the numerator and make it positive. Okay? And vice versa, if the negative exponent is in the numerator, then you need to move it down to the denominator and once again make it positive. So the best way to get this, just like before, is to show you some examples, okay? So we're going to follow those rules. Number 43, I'm going to rewrite these the way they should be written. But wait, first of all, I see an x to the 0 power. What do I do with 0 powers? Cross them out. They become 1. So anything times 1 is just itself, okay? So let's rewrite this problem. We have negative 2x to the negative 3rd power. Oh my gosh, there goes that negative exponent. We don't want that. So let's do what we've been doing before. Let's box that coefficient and highlight this, okay? Now, what's going to happen here with this negative exponent is we're going to follow our rules. If the negative exponent is in the numerator, it's in the top. Remember, anything can be turned into a fraction just by putting it over 1. Okay, so if it's in the numerator, we need to move it to the denominator. So that means move this whole thing down here. And then just by doing that one little move, all of a sudden, it's like magic. The exponent becomes positive. So this is how this is going to work. You leave the negative 2, the coefficient's going to stay where it is. And x to the negative 3rd moves down to the bottom and becomes positive. So x to the positive 3 power. And that's it. Okay? Easy enough. So in number 44, let's rewrite all of this so that we have all 3 parts. We need a coefficient, a base, and an exponent for each term. So 1a squared times negative 2a to the 1st power times 2a to the negative 3rd power. There goes that negative exponent. So let me see here. We've got coefficients. Let's box those. And we've got our exponents with our base. Exponent, base, exponent, base. Okay. Now, before we start moving this a to the negative 3rd power, I'm going to use all my other properties that I've learned so far in Chapter 7, the product property, the power property, and let's see what happens, all right? So we know that we need to multiply our coefficients. So we have 1 and negative 2 gives me negative 2, times 2 is going to be negative 4. And then my my base and exponent, remember when you're multiplying the product property, that was the very first one we learned, you need to add the exponent. So 2 plus 1 is 3, minus 3 is going to be 0. A to the 0 power. Well, what happens with our 0 powers? That makes this a to the 0 power a 1. So negative 4 times 1. Our answer here is just negative 4. So do you see how sometimes using our properties before we deal with the negative exponent can kind of make things a little bit easier for us? Let's go down to number 45 and rewrite this. Negative 1v squared divided by negative 2v to the negative 3rd power. Let's box those coefficients and highlight your base and exponents. Okay, and here we have that negative exponent again, so let's follow our rules. Cross the line, flip the sign. So if we move v to the negative 3rd power up to the top, we're going to get rid of it down here at the bottom. We'll have v to the positive 3rd power now up here at the top. And then we can just use our other properties and solve or simplify. Negative 1 divided by negative 2, 2 negatives is going to make this a positive 1 over 2. And then you have v squared times v to the third. Remember, when you're multiplying, you need to add those exponents. So 2 plus 3 is going to give me v to the fifth power. All right, 46. Let's rewrite this. 2a squared divided by 3a to the negative first power. Box those coefficients and highlight. All right, let's take care of our coefficients. We have 2 over 3. We need to reduce that. 2 over 3 does not reduce. Here's that negative exponent, so let's cross the line and flip the sign. It's gone down here, and at the top it becomes a to the first power, positive. So a times a, we have to add those exponents. We get a to the third power. All right, 47. Now we're going to bring in some more exponents. 4y to the fourth power times negative 4y, no exponent, so to the first power, x to the third, times negative 1x cubed, y to the negative first power. All right, so let's box those coefficients. Okay, and highlight. Let's see, let's do y's in green, and we'll do the other two, this x and this x in blue. All right, let's do our properties first, and then we'll see if we have any negative exponents left over. So 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, times negative 1 is going to be positive 16. Let's add up all of our exponents for y. We have 4 and 1 is 5, minus 1 is back to 4. And then we have 3 plus 3x to the sixth power. So we didn't even need to flip any, or cross the line and flip any signs for this one. Let's look at number 48. Negative 1v to the negative first power times 2v to the 0 power. All right, we've got a 0 power. So what happens here? Becomes 1. Basically, it cancels. It goes away because 2 times 1 is just 2. So let me see here. We've got our coefficient and our base exponents. All right, so negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, and we've got v to the negative first power. Here's that negative exponent. So what we need to do is cross the line and change the sign. Okay? So we have left over is negative 2 stays in the numerator, and in my denominator I have v to the positive first power, or basically just v. All right, flip over. All right, guys, I'm going to have you pause here and try 49 on your own. All right, in this one, x to the fourth and x to the fourth, you subtract those exponents and it's 4 minus 4 is 0. They kind of cancel each other out. Then you're left with just y squared in the top, 1y squared if you want to be specific, and all that's left in the bottom is negative 2. All right, 51. Let's rewrite it. Negative 3m to the first, add that exponent, n to the fourth, p to the negative 2 power, m 0 power, n 0 power, p to the fourth. So we have a couple of 0 powers happening here. What do we do with those? Cancel, they're gone, bye-bye. They just become 1. So let me see, I've got a coefficient, and I've got m, n, and p. Notice I didn't highlight this m or n because they're gone. All right, so we just have negative 3, m to the first, n to the fourth, and p, oh, let me see here. We need to move this p. But, I mean, think about it. We have negative 2 plus 4. We know what that is when we add our exponents. Negative 2 plus 4, that gives me 2. Okay? So I can just do p squared. Okay? So sometimes there's easier ways to deal with that negative exponent. If you have it as part of your answer, then you need to do some movement. But if you can just take care of it with the product property, then why bother? Okay? So 53, let's try this last one. Before I even jump into things, I notice right here I've got a 0 exponent. Get rid of it. All right, so we have negative 1p to the first power, q to the fourth, divided by negative 3m cubed p squared and q to the negative third power. Oh no. All right, so coefficients. P, Q, and M. All right, before I do anything, here's this negative. I'm going to move this up here. So I'm going to get rid of it right here, and it becomes Q to the positive third exponent. Alrighty, let's take care of our answer for this one. Let's reduce our coefficients. Negative 1 divided by negative 3, that just becomes a positive 1 over 3. Okay? We have P, 2 minus 1, and leave your answer where the biggest one was. So that's going to be P to the first power, and it goes to the bottom. Okay? M to the third, there's no M in the numerator, so leave that down here. And then our q's, we have q to the fourth times q to the third. When you're multiplying, you need to add the exponents. 4 plus 3 is going to give me 7. So q to the 7th power up in the top. And that's our answer. All right? So just remember your rule that no negative exponents can be part of your answer. Don't forget to do your summary questions. Try these last 3, 50, 52, and 54 on your own. Have a good night.